My name is Fred Sullivan, owner of Lighthouse Music Services, and we would like to congratulate you on getting your new instrument, and you're about ready to put it together. So let's talk to you a little bit about some of the different care and maintenance items that you might need to get started with your various instrument. We're going to start with a flute, and then we're going to go into a clarinet, and then we're going to go to saxophone, and then we're going to go to trumpet. And we hope that you get some valuable information out of these videos, and let's get started. So you've decided to be in the band program, and you picked a saxophone, and you either purchased it, hopefully, or rented it from a reputable local music store. And what we want to do is we want to show you some ways to put it together so you'll be successful, so you'll have very few maintenance problems. And so let's get started. First of all, you have the main body of the instrument, and a lot of people will grab it right in the body of it. What we see in the repair business is a lot of bent keys due to grabbing instruments incorrectly. So what I would suggest really is let's just always take it out from the bell side first, and this will prevent bending any keys. And then you're going to want to take off this little end plug, and it's critically important that you leave the end plug in while it's not in use, because very often manufacturers will make this little arm right here extend out beyond the end of this. And if you don't have the end plug on, very often this little piece gets bent or broken, actually broken off, and a little bit difficult to fix when it's broken. So it's always best. This is very inexpensive, and it's very, very good to keep this in there. It's called the end plug. So you just take that out when you're ready to assemble the instrument. You're going to want to also then put on the one of the three pieces that make up the saxophone. And the next one is the neck, and you'll notice that I'm grabbing it like this. We don't want to grab it clear out here to put it on. We want to grab it way up close so that it's right almost on top of this. This is the neck tenon, and this is the saxophone receiver. And we want to just put it on like this, make sure that this little screw is backed off so it's not tight. And then we want to just twist it on with a motion somewhat like this, rather than grabbing it out here and wiggling it on like this. We want to twist it in as close as we can. We get a lot of repair work in where the neck tenon has been rounded off and the neck is very, very loose. And we want to try to have you be able to avoid that. We can also develop leaks in there if we don't take, if we do that, and if the instrument is leaking from here, it's going to leak all the way through the whole instrument. Make it hard to play. So we want to avoid that, so we want to put this on like that. Tighten this up. It should tighten up enough that it doesn't, you don't want to have to go too tight on it, and it should just you have to barely tighten, just like a quarter turn. Once you get it tight. And one of the things that we see so often in the shop is we get calls from people who say that my instrument plays high all the time. It's like I've activated the octave key where this key is open, and it stays open all the time. And we see that because this key right here, this arm right here, has been bent up. So that is one of the things that you're going to see very, very often. And what that does is it makes this part of the key stay open. And so we want to avoid that. We want to put by putting on the neck just like this. Okay. Next, we're going to want to put on our neck strap. I would suggest, if you can, to get a neck strap that has a metal piece on there, and hopefully without a hook. You won't be taking a chance of having it break. Something else that we also see very, very often is that when we're not playing, so many people will actually take their arms and put them like this when they're sitting in their lap. And we've actually seen a lot of instruments come in that are bent this way, bent like, kind of like a crescent moon, bent like that, strictly because they've held on to it like this. So if you could actually put this on your knee while you're sitting, hold it something like this, that would really aid in keeping the instrument in alignment and in good playing condition. We do like to see them once a year for an annual maintenance. Part of that is because everything that is in your mouth goes down through the instrument. So anything that you've eaten goes down through the instrument and stays there. So we like to clean that out and then re-oil and do refresh the instrument each year. We want to put on the mouthpiece next. That's the last of the three parts. We have a cap. The cap is critical to keep on the mouthpiece at all times, whenever you're not using it. And we want to do that because this portion of the mouthpiece right here is very critical for how the instrument will play. And if it's chipped or if you drop it and it gets rounded over, the reed that rests on there will not be able to provide the proper seal. So we need to make sure that this little cheap cap stays on there whenever the instrument's not being played. Okay, and so what we recommend, you'll need some reeds with this as well, and you're also going to need some cork grease. Let's go ahead and take this neck back off, and we'll show you here. We want to make sure that this cork is lubed up. We don't want the mouthpiece to be pushed on there too tight. Now you don't need to use this every time. It's mainly, and you're going to have to get a feel for this, it's mainly when the mouthpiece feels like it's hard to push on. Once it gets easier, once it gets a little bit easier, you're not going to need to use this every time. So for right now, we're putting some on. And at this point now, we'd like to put the reed on. This is the other piece of the equipment that you need. These you'll be replacing probably more frequently than any others. You can either buy them individually or in small packets of 3, or buy the box, which is the most economical way to buy them. Your instructor will tell you which number to start with. Lots of people start with a 2.5, but have your instructor tell you what they prefer for you. One of the things that we find is that when people are putting reeds on the instrument, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll put the reed on first, and if the reed actually sticks up over the top of the mouthpiece, a lot of times when you put the ligature on, which holds the reed onto the instrument, we'll actually miss and hit and chip up the reed that way. So another suggestion would be to maybe put the ligature on first and back up these ligature screws a little bit and hold that up there. And then put the thick part of the reed onto the instrument and then slide everything down together. And that will help prevent this the thin part of the reed from cracking or breaking. And then you can assemble it as you're taught by your instructor from there. And then you tighten it up. And when you're taking it apart, you want to do the same thing. Take the ligature off first, and then take your reed. And what we recommend on reeds is that you have one for each day of the week. What you do is you allow the reed to dry so that it dries out thoroughly. Where reeds wear out the quickest is when you play the same one each day, every day. They get soggy and they don't have a chance to dry out at the tip, and they'll basically just break down, and they won't last very long. So it's a good idea to rotate these so that you're using one each week. And you can label them, or Monday through Friday, or you could put a dot, color-coded, whatever you like. Okay, and when we're finished playing each time, what we want to do just real quickly, what we can do is we want to take a swab, a good high quality swab. Make sure that when it unravels that you get the entire swab to unravel. We find a lot of times that we forget to do that because we're in a hurry, and some of the end of this gets bunched up and it ends up getting stuck right in this area. So what we do is we take the weighted part of this swab, and this happens to be a silk swab. Silk or microfiber, in our opinion, seems to work really well. Put this in the bell, let it come all the way through, and let it work its way down, and then have it come out right this end here, and then just pull it through. And that will do a real good job of getting the inside cleaned out. Then you can take this and bunch it up, wrap it around, and then you can actually wash this as often as you care to, since it's silk and it'll absorb everything that's in your mouth that comes out of the instrument. It's a really good idea to use a good high quality cloth, either cotton or a microfiber cloth, and we have fingerprints, or we have oils on our fingers that will actually adhere to the surface of the instrument. And then what happens then is that dust will collect, dust and dirt, where that oil is. And so it's good to keep this clean, the surfaces of your instrument cleaned, and that can be done each time you play it as well. And it doesn't take very long, and then you want to make sure that you put the end plug back in, hold it by the bell, and then stick it back into the instrument. We hope that this information has been useful to you, and if you have any other further questions, you can see our website at lighthousemusicservices.com.